Let me ask you something. Why is it that the smartest people you know, the ones who could light up any room, charm any crowd, win any debate, why are they sitting at home on Friday night, alone, by choice? See, everyone thinks there's something wrong with them. Society looks at the brilliant loner and goes, that person needs to get out more. They need friends. They need to socialize. But what if that person already figured out something the rest of us are still learning? What if choosing to be alone ain't running away from people, but running towards something else entirely? Stick with me here, because over the next 22 minutes, I'm going to tell you why the most intelligent minds throughout history have always stepped away from the crowd, and why that might be the most psychologically healthy thing you could ever do. Let me take you back. I'm 23 years old, just graduated from film school at UT Austin, and I'm at this party in Hollywood, my first real Hollywood party, right? I'm surrounded by all these people, actors, producers, agents. Everyone's networking, shaking hands, exchanging business cards like they're dealing poker. And I'm thinking to myself, this is it. This is where it happens. This is how you make it. So I'm working the room. I'm smiling, laughing at jokes that ain't funny, pretending to be interested in conversation about people I don't know, talking about projects I don't care about. And after about 2 hours, I realized something. Not one. Every interaction was a transaction. Every smile was a strategy. Every word was calculated. And I look around this room full of hundreds of people, and I've never felt more alone in my life. So you know what I did? I walked out. Got in my beat-up Toyota, drove to the beach, and sat there for 3 hours. Just me, the ocean, and my thoughts. And in those 3 hours alone, I had more clarity about who I was and what I wanted than I had in 3 months of networking. Now, here's what I didn't understand then, but I understand now. That moment wasn't me being antisocial. That was me being selectively social. There's a difference. A big difference. See, I thought I was supposed to be at that party. Society told me I was supposed to be there. My career told me I was supposed to be there. But my soul was telling me something else entirely. And if you're watching this right now, I got a feeling your soul's been telling you something too. Maybe for years. Maybe you've been ignoring it. Maybe you've been feeling guilty about it. Well, I'm here to tell you, stop ignoring it and stop feeling guilty. Because what I'm about to share with you is going to change how you see yourself, how you see others, and how you navigate this whole complicated dance we call social life. All right, let's get into the psychology of this. And I promise I'm not going to bore you with textbook talk, but there's some real science here that explains what's happening. There's this concept in psychology called cognitive bandwidth. Think of your brain like a smartphone, right? You only got so much processing power, so much battery life. Pause. Every interaction, every conversation, every social obligation, that's an app running in the background. Now, most people, they're running 50 apps at once. They're on social media, they're texting 5 different group chats, they're making plans they don't want to keep, they're maintaining friendships that don't feed their soul, and then they wonder why they're exhausted, anxious, and feel like they're not accomplishing anything meaningful. But smart people, and I mean truly intelligent people, not just book smart people, they figured something out early. They realized that pause depth beats breadth every single time. See, there's this researcher, Robin Dunbar, British anthropologist. He came up with what's called Dunbar's number. It says the human brain can only maintain about 150 stable relationships, and that's pushing it. Pause. But here's the kicker. When they studied people with higher IQs, you know what they found? People with higher intelligence reported lower life satisfaction from socializing frequently. Let me say that again. The smarter you are, the less happy you are when you're constantly around people. Now, why is that? It ain't because smart people are miserable or antisocial. It's because, pause, their brains are wired to process information differently. They go deep, they analyze, they question, they think about implications, consequences, patterns. Imagine you're at a dinner party, right? Regular conversation goes, how's work? Good, busy. How's the family? Good. Little Johnny made the soccer team. Oh, that's great. Small talk, surface level, safe. But a smart person's brain, their brain is going, why did they just dodge the real answer about work? What's the subtext there? Is this relationship authentic or performative? Why are we talking about Johnny's soccer when there's so much happening in the world? What's the point of this interaction? What am I gaining? What am I giving? Exhausting, right? And look, I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I'm just saying they're different. And if you're wired for depth, forcing yourself into situations that require breadth, that's not living, that's performing. There's another concept I love. It's called social energy economics. Introverts, deep thinkers, intelligent people, they don't recharge through social interaction. They recharge through solitude. Other people are like, they're like vampires to their energy, not in a malicious way, but in an energetic way. Every conversation is a withdrawal from their energy bank account. In most social interactions, they're not making deposits back in. They're just taking. So what happens? Smart people start doing the math. They realize if I go to this party, I'll spend 3 hours, I'll have 10 shallow conversations, I'll come home drained, and tomorrow I'll have nothing left for my work, my passions, my real relationships, or they can stay home, read a book, work on their project, have one deep conversation with one person who matters, go for a walk and think. They choose option 2, not because they hate people, but because they love themselves more than they fear being judged. And let me tell you something from personal experience. That choice to prioritize your energy, your time, your mental space over social expectations, that's not selfish. That's self-preservation. That's wisdom. That's knowing yourself well enough to honor what you need. All right, so here's where we get practical, because knowing this stuff intellectually is one thing. Applying it, that's where the rubber meets the road. I'm going to give you 5 strategies, 5 real actionable strategies for navigating social life when you're wired for depth, not breadth. Asterisk, strategy number 1, the energy audit. Asterisk. For the next week, I want you to track your social interactions like you'd track your spending, every conversation, every gathering, every phone call. And after each one, rate it on 2 scales, energy cost and value received. Energy cost, did it drain you or energize you? 1 to 10. Value received, did you get something meaningful from it? 1 to 10. Here's what you're going to find. Most of your interactions are high cost, low value. You're spending premium energy on bargain bin conversations. Once you see that clearly, once you got the data right in front of you, it becomes way easier to start making different choices because you're not operating on guilt or obligation anymore. You're operating on evidence. Asterisk, strategy number 2, the 3-tier system. Asterisk. Not all relationships are equal. Stop treating them like they are. Tier 1, these are your intimates, your ride or dies, the people who know your soul. For most people, this is 2 to 5 people, maximum. These people get unlimited access to you. They're worth the energy investment because they make deposits, not just withdrawals. These are your friendly acquaintances, colleagues, neighbors, friends of friends. They're fine, they're nice, but they don't get the same access. You're cordial, you're kind, but you're boundaried. Boundaried, that word's important. Tier 3, everyone else, the randos, the energy vampires, the obligation relationships that society says you got to maintain, but your soul says otherwise. Here's the strategy. Give tier 1 your best. Give tier 2 your politeness. Give tier 3 nothing. Pause and don't feel bad about it. Asterisk, strategy number 3. The preemptive. No asterisk. This one's going to feel uncomfortable at first, but it's a game changer. Stop saying maybe to things you know you don't want to do. Stop saying I'll let you know to invitations that make your stomach tight. Stop leaving yourself an out that just creates anxiety between now and the event. Say no immediately, say no kindly, but say no clearly. Thanks for thinking of me, but I'm going to sit this one out. I appreciate the invite, but that's not for me. I'm keeping my schedule light these days, so I'll have to pass. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't need to justify your choices. You're an adult. You get to decide how you spend your time and energy. Act like it. Asterisk, strategy number 4. The depth over breadth principle. Asterisk. Instead of trying to maintain 30 friendships at a surface level, invest deeply in 3. Instead of going to 5 networking events a month, go to 1 and make real connections. Instead of scrolling through hundreds of social media posts, have 1 real conversation. Quality over quantity ain't just a cute saying, it's a life strategy, and smart people figured this out early. They'd rather have 1 friend who understands them than 100 who don't. So ask yourself, who are the people in your life that you can be fully yourself with? Pause. Those are your people. Everyone else is optional. Asterisk. Strategy number 5, the solitude practice. Asterisk. Here's the one nobody talks about but everybody needs. Schedule alone time like it's a business meeting. I'm serious. Put it in your calendar. Protect it like you'd protect a doctor's appointment or a work deadline. Every week, you need time, real time, with no one but yourself. No phone, no social media, no distractions, just you, your thoughts, and whatever brings you peace. For me, it's driving with no destination. For you, it might be hiking, journaling, sitting in a coffee shop, taking a bath, working on your art. Whatever it is, do it regularly. Not when you have time, not when you're burnt out, regularly, religiously. Because here's what happens. When you give yourself permission to be alone, when you stop seeing solitude as something to fix, you start to understand yourself. Pause, and when you understand yourself, you stop seeking validation from people who don't understand you. And that right there, that's freedom. Let me tell you what nobody tells you about choosing yourself over social expectations. It's lonely at first. It really is. When you start saying no to things that don't serve you, when you start pulling back from relationships that drain you, when you start prioritizing your peace over people's approval, people notice. And they don't always like it. They'll call you antisocial. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you think you're too good for them now. And that hurts. I'm not going to lie to you. That hurts. But here's what I learned, and here's what I need you to hear. The people who matter won't mind, and the people who mind don't matter. See, when you start living authentically, when you start honoring what you need instead of what's expected, something magical happens. The right people show up, not more people, not louder people, the right people. People who get you, people who don't need you to explain yourself, people who see you pulling back from the noise and they respect it. Hell, they join you in it. I've got fewer friends now than I did 20 years ago. Pause. But I've got better friends, deeper friendships. Real relationships where I don't have to perform, don't have to pretend, don't have to be anyone but exactly who I am. And on the nights when I'm alone, which is most nights, I ain't lonely. I'm content. I'm at peace. I'm working on things that matter to me, thinking about ideas that excite me, becoming the person I'm meant to be. You know what the opposite of loneliness is? It ain't company. It's purpose. It's self-understanding. It's knowing yourself so well that you don't need constant validation from the outside world. And smart people, they figured that out. They abandoned social life not because they couldn't handle it, but because they found something better. They found themselves. And once you find yourself, once you really know who you are and what you need, you become uncommon. Not just uncommon, uncommon amongst uncommon people. All right, here's what I want you to do before the next video. Take that energy audit I mentioned. Track your interactions. Get honest about what's draining you and what's feeding you. Identify one social obligation, just one that you've been doing out of guilt, not genuine desire, and say no to it. This week, don't wait. Practice that muscle. 3, schedule 2 hours of solitude. Just you, no distractions. And pay attention to what comes up. Pay attention to what you think about, what you feel, what you realize about yourself. Because here's what I haven't told you yet, and this is what we're going to dig into in the next video. What if the real reason smart people abandon social life isn't to escape people, but to escape comfort? See, there's something happening in your brain when you choose the hard path of solitude over the easy path of social acceptance. Something powerful. Something that separates people who just exist from people who truly live. And it's got everything to do with why comfort is probably the most dangerous thing in your life right now. We're going to talk about why your brain is wired to seek ease, why that's killing your potential, and how the smartest people in history deliberately chose struggle over comfort, and what happens when you do the same